Hey there, Gemini. Well, this is Sunday the 14th of January, and this reading is going to be for the following week. Sorry about the stuffed up nose. I've been saying this to everybody. This happens to me. It's a combination of everything, dairy, gluten, whatever, and I'm going to get work done. I'm going to actually work on my polyps this winter, so I'm seeing the doctor in 2 weeks, and that's exciting. So anyway, what I want to talk about with Gemini is the fact that you have Pluto next Saturday, which is the big conversation for this week. You'll hear it from every astrologer, everybody that does readings everywhere, is moving to Aquarius. Now that goes into your 12th house, which means sometimes Pluto can stir up old issues. Let's say with you being a sun sign Gemini, there's issues from the past you never knew about. And out of the blue, kind of in a roundabout way, because of Uranus and Jupiter together, it becomes this big drama. Be careful you feed into something before you actually know the whole truth, because when things are like that with Venus, it's emotional, and mom loved you more, dad loved, like whatever. Be careful about this. Also to applies to everybody out there, both guys and women, about the fact that it could very well be to do with your ancestry. It could be anything. You could hear some really interesting news that kind of blows your mind. I find that all fascinating myself. So anyway, let's start. Now, please do me a favor. Please subscribe, all you Gemini and Gemini ascendants, and please hit the bell icon to make sure that you're notified, and also hit a thumbs up that you've enjoyed the reading. That actually gives me presence on YouTube, and it'll actually help me grow the station, which is what I want to do. So here we go. We're going to take it from here. Yeah, same thing, really interesting. So one of the things that's really interesting is really, I know that was not an earthquake, it's the antique table I have this sitting on. I should probably see if I can move that in so that it's not wobbling around like that. That's better. Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about here is the fact that first and foremost in your reading, you have directional influences. Where do I go from here? What do I do? Many Geminis are actually concluding a cycle in their life with Pluto leaving. Pluto, having been in, the sign of Capricorn, remember that is your house of other people's money. It's the house of sometimes inheritance, sometimes money's through other. It also has a lot to do with employer. It has to do with investment sometimes. Just keep an eye on what's going on and what's changing, what's ending. Somebody that you might have worked on a deal with in family could be a write-off. It could also be that, you make some really big decisions, because in your reading to me, there is some things shifting around right now. You may be already in the midst of that. You may be already deciding upon it. You may be spending money, because what you've got in here is having to watch that you don't get yourself worked up about something that you've jumped to conclusions over. And you've got this element about finances and spending or taking on material responsibility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I don't see that as a negative. You have a few players. You have more players than most in your reading, and that takes place a lot with Gemini. Gemini is a very chatty, social creature. Again, only dependent upon their ascendant. If their ascendant is a much calmer, it takes them a bit to warm up. They don't walk into the auditorium and all of a sudden they're Judy Garland. And Judy Garland really would have her own, insecurities until she got going. So, in your reading in here, you do have players having quite a big influence in regards to decisions that are happening and the decisions that you're going to make going forth. Now, obviously, from your sun sign standpoint or ascendant being Gemini, with the aspect of Pluto leaving, it takes away that sort of crash down to rebuild that Pluto's known for. It goes in as the mighty might destroyer, so it's the phoenix out of the ashes. Well, a lot of that had to happen since 2007. You had to disperse, you had to let go of, you had to go through changes. You either moved, you took on, you had to fix, you had to do whatever. Many Geminis I know did do that. Right up until last year, they were going through it, and they may have a little bit of a wrap up when Jupiter moves back to Capricorn September 1st through the first week of November. So just be aware of that. But more than likely, this is game forward. And I like your reading. I mean, you've got some really great decisions in here. You've got decisions during Pisces is a pretty interesting time for you from what I'm seeing in here, but you're already getting a gist about this. You are going to go away. You're going to make probably quite an impulsive decision about travel. Now, it could very well be that it just has to do with it, that it'll happen quicker than you thought, that it'll move up really, really quickly. And you're really quite excited about it. One of the things I want you to be a bit careful about, though, you just have a little bit of uncertainty in regards to spending money. Now, Geminis can be very good-hearted. They can also be very funny about what they put money into. Some of them can be extremely prudish and extremely difficult to work on a financial thing, depending on where their Mercury is. If their Mercury's in Taurus, they're very frugal. It just depends on where their Mercury is. In your reading in here, you've got something to do with spending money. This seems to me, though, it's more to do with travel or where, like location, where. Spending money. Money's becoming available, then making a decision about it. And you've got the moon here. That could also mean that you're in the midst of a project or a situation where you're up against people that aren't being totally above board or on the same plane as you. When the moon shows up in a reading, it can sometimes mean your own intuitive nature, but it can also represent your sense of insecurity, fear, or worry. Now remember, being born as a Gemini, your second house of interaction and your own money is Cancer sign. So that is about other people, how you feel, your sensitivities, about money, self, and how you project yourself. So just pay attention to what's going on ahead, because little something. The aspect about locale location is interesting. The aspect about getting away. You are, however, really paying attention to your own intuitive and psychic abilities, and you're sensing something's up. You're sensing that, hey, wait a minute here, what's going on? What's going down? Why do I feel this state of uneasiness ahead? So there's something there. But, you know, as I said with this beginning part in here about this week and all the things that out of the blue come up, just be aware of the fact that some people, you know, tend to come out of the woodwork. And we never really understand fully why somebody's all of a sudden, you know, really starting to create an argument, or they want to create something. And you want to just keep control of your temper. You don't want to get into an argument or altercation with someone. You want to be able to be really open. And there is something really, really important in here. Things will happen for you, Geminis, as quick as you'll enable them. If you want things to happen really fast, as soon as March, you could be making some pretty damn major decisions, late February, March, because you've got in here during that full moon in Virgo, which is your sister sign because of Mercury. And you may very well at that point be deciding to spend money, take up something, purchase something, etc. Something quite important. So you got a lot of things on your mind. I think right now, though, for this week, try to not lose that sense of courageousness, but do not lose your temper. Try to count to 10, count to 10, count to 10. Very, very important going forward. I don't dislike your reading. I actually like it. You know, you're finding a sense of understanding about environment, where you want to be. You don't want to get yourself too far out of the loop, by the way. If anything does come up about placement or environment, or you find yourself this deliberation again about travel, do I go away, what happens? Just be really sure that you really think all that through before you go. I don't necessarily know that this would be a same old trip, meaning you'd be going back somewhere. It seems to me as though there's something unfamiliar about the aspect of travel. And where there's an issue in here that you're a little bit concerned about is this monetary scenario, about, you know, this deal or something about monetary or financial, and right next to that you have the moon. That to me is always a slight indication, not that there's foul play, but careful you really get in writing what something would be. Let's just hypothetically say that you go away, you hear about a deal that's too good to be true, this place by the ocean's for sale, or it's a timeshare, which I would run like hell. Caution. Just caution. Be careful. Think. There's something about talking monetary, talking something that I don't particularly really like in your reading. I just don't. You're too smart for that. Gemini is mercurial. I don't care if they have grade 7. They're sharp as a whip when it comes to information and reading people. You can watch people's behavior like I can. I have Jupiter in Gemini. I can watch people, know they're full of it, or they're really being upfront. So just pay attention to that. Anyway, it's been great reading you guys. Please, as I've said, hit the bell icon. Please subscribe to watch me, because I'm going to be on every week, and your monthlies will be up by the end of this week. And the like button, is the more likes I get, the higher up the roster I go, the greater the lighting, the greater the filming. Everything's going to be fantastic. Excuse me. I paused it. It was fabulous. So anyway, I wish you guys all the best. Have a great evening. Have a great week ahead, and watch the fireworks. Don't sit grilled to CNN or CP24, but just watch the fireworks. Take care, guys. You heard it here first.